Hey, Laker fans, the season is upon us. It is finally time to get some Los Angeles Laker basketball back in your life, which means we're going to keep the coverage coming 24/7 on this channel. So all you got to do is scroll on down, hit the big red button before we get started today, and also make sure you turn on notifications. You're like, Jimmy, how do I do that? You see this little bell? It looks just like that right underneath me. You can be the first one to watch a video when it comes out when you turn on your notifications. So go ahead and subscribe, and let's get this video started. The Lakers are set to begin their season on Tuesday, December 22nd. Now, of course, they'll also be playing on Christmas Day, but you got to get Game 1 out of the way first against the Los Angeles Clippers. That game will tip off at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time in, of course, Los Angeles as the two teams go head-to-head. Now, both of them had very different preseasons, as you can see below. The Clippers went 0-3. The Lakers went 4-0, but we're going to talk about their preseason debuts and what the teams looked like here more in just a moment. But I want to make sure you guys know where you can catch the game. Of course, as I mentioned, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, and it's going to be prime time with the TNT crew back on NBA tonight on TNT. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You get to watch it on, the major channel. It's the best way to do it. The only question mark right now for the Los Angeles Lakers is their starting point guard, Dennis Schroder, or a potential sixth man because he did sprain that ankle in their preseason finale. He thinks he's going to be good to go. Frank Vogel thinks he's going to be good to go, but it's still up in the air as he's currently being listed day to day. Now, before I kind of break down their preseasons and what the teams look like and what we can look forward to in this matchup of Los Angeles teams, I want you guys to let me know who you got. Type LAC if it's the Los Angeles Clippers, or I'm expecting to see quite a few Los Angeles Laker votes by typing LAL in the comment section. But I've noticed something. In the comments lately, there have been quite a few Clipper fans that have snuck in. So I want the Laker fans to kind of tune in and make sure the Laker fans are outweighing the Clipper fans at the Lakers Report. So go ahead and comment down below. I want to make it the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with the YouTube ad break, scroll on down and respond and let me know who you got. Now, the starting five for the Lakers is going to look like this. I'm projecting things could still shake up, especially if Dennis Schroder is not healthy. But I think Schroder will be your starting point guard that night with KCP in the same backcourt. KCP looked good in the preseason. Obviously, we all know how good he looked in the bubble and in the finals, and now he's back in that starting role. LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they had to shake off a little bit of rust in the preseason, but not too much because they're seasoned veterans. They know what they're doing in the preseason. They didn't even need to play that much. And then your starting big man is going to end up being Marc Gasol, but Montrezl Harrell is going to be the guy that plays a lot of minutes that night against his former team. It's going to be a bit of a Montrezl Harrell revenge game as he looks to go out and basically get blood out for his former team, the Los Angeles Clippers. So although Marc Gasol will start, I think Montrez will get most of those minutes, sort of like the JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard duo that they had last year where JaVale would start, but Dwight played a few more minutes. That's what I expect for the Lakers in Game 1. Now, with the season here and the holidays right around the corner, you might still be gift shopping. Well, I got you covered. Chatsports.com/Lakers jerseys has all Laker jerseys available for up to 65% off. Any player, any design, any color you want at chatsports.com/Lakers jerseys. Get you a LeBron jersey if you don't already have one. Anthony Davis jersey if you don't already have one. Or, hey, if you're on the Taylor Horton Tucker hype train, pick one up today at chatsports.com/Lakers jerseys. They're up to 65% off for a limited time, so I wanted to tell you about it before it was too late. Now, let's break down the kind of preseason results for the Lakers. As you guys know, 4-0. They started the year off perfect by winning all 4 of those scrimmages. Look, first 2 games were against the opponent they're going to face in Game 1 of the regular season in the Los Angeles Clippers, and they handled their business in both of them. Now, the first one was a little bit more dicey. It was a little closer, 87-81, but they ended up taking that other one by storm, 131-106, and they went against the Phoenix Suns back-to-back, and those were games where, some of the guys, they started to ramp up their regular season starters a little bit more. They squeaked out a couple wins, but again, it's preseason. Can't draw too many conclusions from that. And you look at the preseason leaders for the Lakers and who looked really strong. Obviously, the name that sticks out on this list is Taylor Horton Tucker. who put up 20.5 points per game. But of course, in preseason, he never played one game less than 24 minutes, and he was averaging, I believe, around 30 minutes per game, which led to that bump in scoring from him. But I think the most impressive thing about Talen Horton-Tucker, or the most encouraging thing, is that they have another young guy off the bench alongside Kyle Kuzma, who looked really, really strong. Kuzma put up 18 points per game. KCP was right there at 16. And then LeBron and AD each only played 2 games and didn't play that many. AD, though, he looked really, really strong. So you saw the list of guys that led in scoring, but maybe you were impressed by somebody not on that list. Who was the most impressive Laker in the preseason for you to watch? And I think there's only one right answer. I think it's Talen Horton-Tucker. I think you got to put that in the comment section. Just spam THT for all it's worth. Or maybe you were impressed by somebody else. That's fine. Let me know who it was in the comments of this video. Now, talking about the opponent that the Lakers are going to face off against, that other LA team, the LA Clippers. I believe this is going to be their starting 5, but it kind of seems like they could shake a lot of different things up. And so your backcourt is technically kind of Patrick Beverley and Paul George, although Paul George is obviously more of a forward in today's game. Kawhi, as steady as ever, will be there. He's going to be 100% healthy. He's ready to play. He will start at the forward position for them. And then their 2 big men, Ivica Zubac and Serge Ibaka. It's going to be interesting to watch them. I could also see Marcus Morris getting some time in there, and maybe they move Ibaka to the bench. Maybe they go a little smaller and move Ibaka to the 5 and Morris to the 4. Things could still shake up a little bit for the Los Angeles Clippers, but if they want their best starting 5 out there, I think this is the team they'll roll with. Now, as I mentioned earlier when I showed you the little matchup there, the Clippers had a vastly different preseason than the Los Angeles Lakers did. Now, again, it's preseason. I don't want to get too carried away, but let's make note, all of the starters for the Clippers played in all 3 of these games, and they didn't win a single one. They lost 2 to the Lakers, and then they lost 1 to the Utah Jazz by 20 points. Again, preseason, but when your starters play, you should play a little better than going 0-3. And so looking at their leaders and who was leading in scoring, again, very different than the Lakers. Where the Lakers had 3 guys that nearly put up 20 points per game in the preseason, and Talen Horton-Tucker, Anthony Davis, and Kyle Kuzma. And then KCP was at 15 points per game, and so was LeBron James. Meanwhile, the Clippers didn't have a single guy average over 12 points per game. Paul George led the way at 11.7, and Terrence Mann was one of their top 5 scorers. There might be a little bit of concern in the Clippers locker room, and so I'm not really sure what it's going to look like, but I have a high expectation that the Lakers are going to walk out of Game 1 being 1-0, with a 1 being in the win column. So before I get out of here and before, we get to actually watch the Lakers play some basketball, I want you to let me know in the comment section who you think is going to score the most points in Game 1 of the regular season between the Lakers and the Clippers. Is it going to be LeBron James, Anthony Davis, or is it going to be one of the Clipper players, Kawhi Leonard or Paul George? Let me know in the comment section.